Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So, on today's episode, I've got a special one for you because I'm going to be going through a tier list ranking that it never really occurred to me it would be kind of a fun one to do. And then just all of a sudden did this morning. And you know what? This is why we're here. We're going to be talking about the tier list ranking for banned commanders. That's right. Those commanders that are unspeakable, untouchable. You cannot utilize them at all. No. In Commander, they are banned because of, well, one reason or another. Well, if you stack them up against each other, which is the most powerful? I'm not talking about which are the most ban-worthy. I'm talking about, hey, you know what? You put them in some tier rankings. You're like, yeah, which one's an S tier commander? Which one's a D tier commander? Let's see and let's find out. And we're going to start things off by talking about, well, Rayo Sorotami Ascendant. This one is banned for good reason. Here we go. So, Rayo Sorotami Ascendant is a 1/1 legendary creature moonfolk monk for 1 in a blue. Yeah, these are kind of hard to read when they're the flip ones. Regardless of flying, that says whenever the force spell of a turn is played, flip it. So, what happens when you flip it is the reason. Obviously, it was just a 1/1 flyer. That really wouldn't be that big of a deal. But this one flips to Rayo's Essence, which says counter the first spell played by each opponent each turn, legendary enchantment. So yeah, basically a way to shut your opponent's first spell down every single turn, every single first spell, a free counter on them. Now, it does require you to play 4 spells in a turn, or it says the 4 spell of a turn. It does not require your first 4th spell, I guess. So it could be just instant speed shenanigans on an opponent's turn could work as well very well. That being said, it's quite easy to flip this. Very easy, very effective to flip this, well, in absolutely no time. And yeah, when you do, your opponents are going to be shut out for a little bit. And because, yeah, they're probably not enough mana to actually play multiple things in a turn. And if they want to try to deal with this, they have to actually play something, waste a card, and then actually deal with it with something else. But then you probably have a counterspell ready because you're blue. Or also, you also might have other ways to prevent your opponents from actually playing more than one spell in a turn as well. So by doing that, you basically can shut them out of the game entirely. So it's basically a soft lock and then basically a hard lock as well in the command zone that, again, is incredibly easy to set up. So yeah, there's a reason this one's banned, and it is incredibly powerful. And just checking my notes, I did actually kind of, just to be honest on this, I did actually kind of make like a episode tier ranking, kind of just threw them together. I'll probably stick to it, but who knows? Anyway, so I believe that Rayo Sorotami Ascendant is an A tier commander in comparison to all the other banned commanders, and we'll just have to see their power levels. And yeah, I should probably mention the comments below. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts on these. So yeah, let me know how right or wrong I am on these. Regardless, moving on, we've got Rafael, slander, Emissary, a 2/1 elf legend that's been around. I'm pretty sure it's just an elf. Regardless, that can tap for 1 green mana of any color, or 1 green mana of any color. 1 green mana in your mana pool for each force you control. There we go, we got there. Basically, tap for green based on the number of force you have. You're in a mono green deck. This only costs green. It's very low to the ground, very effective. Literally, if you're just hitting land drop, and they're all forests, this is tapping for what? 3 mana on turn 3, essentially, just not with doing anything else. So you have a massive amount of ramp with this. You have a massive amount of ramp potential. Again, obviously, the further and further the game goes, the longer the game goes, the more mana you're going to be getting out of this. There's not too many ways to make this hasty. So, if it gets dealt with, to actually, retap for mana. That being said, it's still a good burst of mana. You are limited to 1 color. But yeah, it's got a lot of potential. I personally, I guess I'm probably going to say this on many of these, but I personally don't believe this one's ban worthy, personally. But yeah, it's still pretty powerful. I'd say when it comes to actually in comparison to the other banned commanders, I would put it in the middle of the road. So Rafael, slander, Emissary, you are quite potent, quite powerful. You're definitely not at the top of the list, but you're definitely not at the bottom either. In my opinion, you are a middle-of-the-road commander in comparison to the other ones. You're a B tier commander. I guess I probably should have said S tier is the best, A, B, C, and D is the worst. So there you go. I covered my bases at least a little bit. Moving on, though. Oh my goodness, I forgot this one was next. Here we go. Leovold, Emissary of Trust. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this one, yeah, when I was saying, like, that Rafael probably shouldn't be banned. Well, this one probably should. And I'm not really a big proponent on many bans at all. Regardless, a 3/3 Elf Advisor for black, green, blue. Each opponent can't draw more than one card each turn. Ouch. Yeah, even if it just had that on it. Gross. Whenever your permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability opponent controls, you may draw a card. So that's just nice additional value. Essentially, if your opponent's trying to deal with any of your things, especially your commander, which they're definitely going to try to do, you're going to get a benefit from that. That being said, it is incredibly easy to basically shut your opponents out of the game with this. It's called a wheel effect. There are many of them. All you need to do is say, hey, everyone, you know what we're going to do? Let's draw some cards, okay? But first, we need to, discard our hand and put it in the graveyard or shuffle it. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. And then we'll draw. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. I just cast Windfall and I just drew 7 cards. But you guys can only draw 1. Oh, no. You don't have a hand anymore. Yeah, this is incredibly easy, incredibly effective, and brutal. Very brutal, very easy to set up. You can shut your opponents out in absolutely no time. You, of course, have access to what potentially might be the 3 best colors in Commander. So, yeah, there are ways to really take advantage of this, to win quite quickly with this, and to shut your opponents out and make them miserable. Leovold, you are quite deadly. In my opinion, you probably should be banned, and actually, I'm going to put you at the S tier. You are the S tier commander out of these banned commanders because you are just absolutely brutal, absolutely effective, and so easy to set up. It takes absolutely no effort at all, really, to just take your opponents out in absolutely no time. So, quite brutal. On the opposite end of things, Lutri! Yeah, so this one is one that many players out there don't believe should be banned. I personally do, but not because of it as a commander, because of it as the 101st free card, essentially, okay? Here we go. 3/2 Elemental Otter for 1 Is It. It has companion. Each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. Now, here's the thing. I just popped the mic there. Oops. Okay. Here's the thing. We play Commander, right? One of the requirements is your non-lands, your non-basic lands have different names, right? So you automatically meet that requirement. And by automatically meeting that requirement, this can then go in any deck that has blue and red. Literally just a free 101st card. And that, no matter what this did, would be a problem. Because, hey, if you just play Is It or Is It Plus, you get an advantage. You just get an advantage. It doesn't matter that this is a, just a 3/2 or whatnot. If it was just a 3/2 that did nothing else, it doesn't matter. You still get an advantage. So, yes, in my opinion, this does deserve to be banned. Not because of it as a commander, because of it, as the 101st companion. Regardless, it as a commander, completely fine. 3/2, flash, enters the battlefield. If you cast a copy target instant sorcery spell you control, you choose targets for the copy. That's nice. That's not overly powerful. I mean, that's not terrible. There are other commanders that basically do that, or at least one Narumeha basically does that, right? Essentially, I mean, copy you control. Yeah, I believe Narumeha basically does the exact same thing, essentially, for that cast trigger, or into the battlefield trigger, I should say. This can do some infinite things with certain shenanigans. Or no, actually, this says if you cast it, so it's even worse. Actually, it cannot do infinite things with that. But what it can do, obviously, is copy powerful spells like, an extra turn spell. Maybe something like an expropriate, obviously. So yeah, this can copy some really heavy-hitting spells, which can be powerful. Again, it is definitely not an overpowered commander by any means, especially in comparison to some of these other banned commanders. That being said, it is banned for a reason, for the companion reason. So yeah, Lutri, you're actually not the worst of the worst out of all of these. You're not terrible. You're not that great. But yeah, you are a C-tier commander in comparison to all these other banned commanders. Next up, free Braids. Okay, so on the opposite end of Lutri, essentially, where I'm like, yeah, that one should be banned just because, hey, it should never be allowed to be a companion for any deck ever, essentially, because it's just free. Braids deserves to be unbanned. Because, well, if Braids was unbanned, the Braids deck that would be played with it would only be in higher competitive games. Because Braids is not the type of deck that you're going to be building if you are anywhere near reasonable to be, a casual player. To be like, yeah, this is acceptable with my friends. Yeah, so Braids, unbanned Braids, completely fine in the 99. Regardless, Braids, Cabal minion, a 2/2 human minion for 2 black. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices an artifact, creature, or land. Brutal, effective. Again, the type of strategy, the type of, smokestack strategy, stack strategy that casual players don't play. And yeah, it's quite powerful though. If that is in your more competitive environment, that is quite powerful. If you could Dark Ritual this out on turn 1 and have ways to get other things out to sacrifice them, you're going to be able to brutally, make your opponents have to sacrifice things, including their lands, and probably to shut them out quite early. So this can be effective and efficient, probably in a higher budget, with more ways to ramp it out quickly. But yes, it is incredibly brutal. That being said, compared to other commanders, there are, just heavier hitters in this. I would say that this one probably, in comparison to the other ones, is in the middle of the road, a B tier commander. Not quite as brutal as Robbie, but yeah, quite brutal itself as well, and definitely not Lee of Old Power either. So yeah. Unban Braids. Again, that's just my opinion. Comment below with your opinion on it. Regardless, next up, my old friend, Golos! Golos! No! Why? Why does the rules committee hate fun? They hate 5-color good stuff. They really do. They don't like it at all. Anyways, Golos title of this program is a 3/5 ledger artifact creature scout that costs 5. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a land card, put that land on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. By paying 2 in Woodburg, exile the top 3 cards of your library, play the Mystery that pay the mana cost. So, basically, ramp, get this out, pay mana into it, and cast big things off the top of your library, or, you might miss, you might whiff, you can just spin the wheel, essentially, and hit massive things off the top of your library. Potentially. There are ways to set the top of your library, of course. There are some pretty cool things that you can do this. You can chain spell after spell after spell. You can chain ways to, untap your lands and do it again. You can, make a bunch of treasures. You can do some pretty powerful things with this, a lot of fun things with this, in my opinion. And, Golos Tyrus Pilgrim, you are not the most powerful commander out of all these. Again, you are, in some people's opinion, ban-worthy. In mine, not so much. Regardless, Golos Tyrus Pilgrim, you are, in my opinion, a middle-of-the-road compander. I looked at Illusion there. I was like, commander. But yeah, you are middle of the road in comparison to some of the other heavy hitters in these banned commanders. And speaking of a heavy hitter, okay, here we go. So this is, I think, where really some of the debate really comes. And comment below with your thoughts on where I'm placing this one. But Grizzlebrand. Yep, this one's banned for a reason. Here we go. 7/7 demon flying and lifeline that costs 4 black. So 8 mana in total. Pay 7 life, draw 7 cards. Oh my goodness. So basically, free card draw. You are in Commander where you start off with 40 life. Unlike, a format like Standard where you only start with 20. So in a format like Standard, you can activate this without any life gain twice. Okay, twice. I mean, obviously with this, you could swing through at some point and gain some life. But yeah, just at a base level, twice. 14 life paid. Draw 14 cards. Still incredibly powerful. In Commander, you can activate this, again, assuming you're at your starting life total, 5 times. You can draw 35 cards with this just for playing it. Gross, absurd, and awesome. Of course, there's ways to just win when you're like, yeah, I drew 35 cards. Cool, what do I do with it? Yeah, you got plenty of ways to win from there. Probably gain some life back so you can activate this again and again and again and again. Lots of ways to really effectively utilize this. The only thing really holding it back is that mana value at 8. That being said, with as potent as this can be in a format like Commander where you have 40 starting life, Grizzlebrand, I'm going to be putting you in the A tier. Yeah, you're up there. You are very, very powerful and very, very ban-worthy in certain formats. So there you go. Moving on, perhaps the most unban-worthy commander out of all of them. Iona. Rules Committee. You got this one wrong in my opinion. Iona Shield of Emeria. 7/7 Flying Angel for 6 white, 9 mana in total. Enters the battlefield, choose a color. Your opponents can't cast spells of chosen color. Now the argument will be, well, it was banned because it's 99 of certain decks. It's a 9 mana angel. It's 9 mana. 9! Yes, there are ways to cheat it out. Sure. Okay, sure. But still, even when that's the case, you're not shutting down all your opponents, and you're probably not shutting down even just a single one completely. If someone is playing a monocolor deck, yes, you can shut them down for the most part. That being said, that player can politic with the other players to try to get you to help, or to try to get Iona to be dealt with. There are ways around it. It is a 9 mana card that did not see that much play. And again, I'm getting off topic. This is not a discussion on why it should be banned or not banned. Off topic. Regardless, this one is a 9 mana mono white commander that in certain circumstances really doesn't help you out that much. If you're playing against a bunch of 5-color decks or 3-color decks even, this really doesn't help out that much. A little bit, sure. When it shuts down certain colors, sure. But not all that much. So yeah, it's not a good commander at all, obviously. And that's not the argument on why it was banned or whatever. But yeah, it's a pretty terrible commander compared to the other ones. So Iona, you are on your own at the bottom of the barrel in the D tier. Now, if you have done the process of elimination, or if you're just looking at the tier maker and seeing the last image right there and you recognize that image, the last one up is none other than Ember Clay, the Aeon's Torn, which is a hilariously, oh, and I went a little too far. There we go, look at that. Okay, sorry, I messed up right there. You're gonna see that card just move down a little bit. Shouldn't have done that. Regardless, here we go. Ember Clay, the Aeon's Torn, 15/15 Eldrazi for 15 mana. Gross. Spell can't be countered. Gross. When you cast this spell, take an extra turn from this one. Incredibly gross. Flying, protection from spells that are 1 or more colors, Annihilator 6. And also it shuffles, but again, you're in Commander. You're probably just going to bring back to your command zone. If it ever gets to that point where your opponents can, stop you from winning the game with this, which you're going to be able to win the game. So yeah, if this is your commander, again, this does not specify, when you cast a spell from your hand. Some cards do have that, cast, trigger essentially these days, so that's cast trigger requirement. This one does not. I think this is probably before that actually was a thing. Regardless, hey, this is just nearly a one-shot KO, which you don't even really probably need that. This is basically just a extra turn engine. You can just, have ways to bounce this back to your hand, recast it. If you got something like a blood clock, is that the blood clock, umbilicus, those 2 cards essentially, there's plenty of other ways to bounce it back to your hand. You just keep recasting, you keep taking extra turns, your opponents will never get another turn. Yep. And of course there are plenty of ways to do that. There's also, this thing's incredibly hard to deal with. Unless your opponents have any colorless spells, they're not really going to be able to deal with it. And either 6 can just wipe out all their things. Again, it's basically one-shot KO, with basically any other kind of, pump effects. 2-shot KO at the very most. Flying can get through. Can't be countered, so yeah, good luck to your opponents trying to stop you if you already have yourself set up to win from there. Yeah, I mean, the only thing holding it back really is that it is 15 mana. You really can just put a ton of resources into just, ramping up very quickly, kind of like Grizzlebrand, essentially. Yes, that is a downside to it where it has a massive amount of mana. There are ways to get it out pretty quickly, not like incredibly quickly. I mean, I'm sure, if you really hyper-focus the deck, you could. That being said, yeah, it's very potent. It's a very potent commander, one with essentially after you cast it, you probably just win. Just cast win commander. So Ember Clay, at the end of the day, I am going to put you in the A tier. You're going to join Grizzlebrand and Rayo up there. So there you go. So that is my tier list rankings. I actually didn't deviate from my pre-show ones that I just did there. Maybe I should have. I don't know. There's definitely some that are kind of on the edge of certain categories, basically. But yeah, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on all of these. How would you rank these banned commanders in comparison to each other? Which banned commanders do you think should be banned or stay banned? Which ones do you think should not be banned, should be unbanned? Braids is the right answer, and Iona. And yeah, some others as well. But yeah, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on all of these. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.